Welcome to the channel. I'm going to be reacting to a jar video that was taken down, now it's been re-uploaded thanks to whoever this person is. So yeah, let's go. You've all been warned.
I was going to make a video talking about a recent document that was released about me, but the situation has gotten much more serious as I realize the damage that I've caused.
Another person in the ArtCC has been outed as a bad person. Gee, that's surprisingly new. In other news, there's gonna be a sunrise tomorrow morning. That being said, this situation might not be as cut and dry as you once thought. Unlike everyone.
No, it is. I think it pretty much is, considering everything, all the photos that were sent, the DMs that were shown. Also, by the way, just gotta mention this. Jar being so confident in this video compared to how he is in Chud Logic's interviews and like other people's interviews is just such a contrast. Oh my god. Like seriously. Oh man, I might have to just do reactions to that at some point. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Everyone else who rushed out their video on Synnie, I actually reached out to her, and she agreed to do an interview with me.
Well, my fault. Why don't you walk me through this, Mike?
We had a good thing, you stupid son of a bitch. We had everything we needed. It all ran like clockwork.
Oh,
you could have
God.
shut your mouth, cooked, and made as much money as you ever needed. It was perfect. But no, you just had to be the man. If you'd done your job, known your place, we'd all be fine
Just like
right
with the
now.
Pyrocynical drama, the Spockter drama from 2016, and the Hopeless Peaches drama, there was something about the Synniebear situation that didn't feel right. I'll give you two options. You can take the blue pill and just believe the mainstream opinion about Synnie, or you can take the red pill, and I can show you just how deep this rabbit hole goes. He just groomed a 14-year-old to be more comfortable with conversations like this so she could coom. Yes! Before I begin, I would like to make some disclaimers regarding this video. Number 1. One of the subjects involved in this video goes by a different name than they used to, due to identifying under a different name and gender. If you know the user by the name of Birdie within the animation meme community from years ago, a drama I actually made reference to in my last video, which I to this day do not know anything about, then you should know they now go by he, it pronouns, and they have changed their name to Jack. This is the ArtCC. Half the people in it are trans. When talking about their drama, I will refer to.
What does that have to do with anything though? Like, what does that have to do with anything? Really? You know what I mean? Like, why? This really, like, you could just go, oh, you could just come up, when they'll mention this person, just go, oh yeah, this person. Like, what does that have to do with what's actually going on in the situation? I don't get it. Like, it feels like just unnecessary information, you know? I don't understand. Like, what's the point of like? Is this like a trigger warning for people who are like, oh my god, he's going by him, he, him pronouns now? I don't know. It just seems kind of like it kind of seems pointless to me just to mention that out of the blue when it doesn't really seem like that matters too much to the situation in the slightest. But yeah, let's get back.
It as Birdie, but for the rest of the video, I will call him Jack as that is what he prefers to be called. Second, please give what you can to help save my friend's family restaurant. A link to the GoFundMe will be down below. I know it doesn't seem like the time for it, but I promised my friend I would shout it out in every single video until we raise the money for it. And number 3, some of the stuff you may hear me talk about in this video will be a bit troubling to some, but I am going to keep my wording simple and brief, and show evidence that will be highly censored. Now you might have heard of the Birdie drama, back when they were bashed by the ArtCC for seemingly no reason. After all of that drama, they became best friends with Synniebear03, who I will just be referring to as Synnie for the duration of this video. They moved in together around 10 months ago, but unfortunately their friendship didn't last. Last time I heard about two ArtCC people moving in together, it was Kai and Omnia, and yeah, we all know how that turned out. ArtCC people just don't move in with one another. It never turns out great. As for how I first learned about Synniebear03, I first discovered Synnie through her video on Spockter. Other than that, I just saw her video on Lio and Peaches, along with the first few minutes of her video on Deadwing Dork. Ironically, Synnie brought up that she was moving in with Jack at the very end of her Spockter video.
I'm moving out soon. My original plan was to move out in January, but things have changed. I'm going cross-country to pick up my friend so that we can roommate together. They've been an online friend for a long time, and they've been dealing with a really unsafe living situation for a while now.
Yeah, and then they moved into another unsafe living situation. The tragedy. Anyway, I think I'm gonna put this in 2 times speed because this feels like it's dragging. Actually, I'll put in 1.5. Yeah, just
So I want to go get him. My family has been really, really adamant about me not doing this, though. They already hated the idea of me moving out so soon, but they hate my roommate even more.
When I heard this, I thought nothing of it.
I understand they're worried for my safety, but the way they've gone about being worried has been really stressful. I need to go on this road trip, I need to help my friend, and I need to make my own decisions. I need to get out of this house.
Remember all of this stuff about Cindy's parents not being okay with her moving in with Jack, because it will become important later. As they were living with one another, someone made a document accusing Cindy of doing very bad things with minors. Jack called Cindy out for this, it made a video, the video absolutely blew up, and tons of people also made videos on Cindy. I, along with many other people, wouldn't have learned about this situation for a lot longer if Jack didn't make its video. There are 2 docs that compiled all the evidence of what Cindy did. The first
and yet you couldn't go through the docs properly. Ain't that something? Also, by the way, like and subscribe. I'm just gonna plug that in right now. But he couldn't go through the stuff properly. I think he said he went through the first one kind of, and then he skimmed the second one, which is just why. If you're making a video defending or accusing somebody or something, you should go through all the evidence. Like, also he brings up his dyslexia. I'm like, okay, like you couldn't have, like seriously, you couldn't have gotten like, like your friend was on something. You couldn't have got your like girlfriend to read it to you or something. I don't know, or like even. Because if you have editors or something, you couldn't have tried something, or you couldn't have waited. Like seriously, you didn't have to make this video at all. You didn't have to do any of it. You could have just watched from the sidelines, let it pass, or something. You know, you could have just done it, but no, I don't understand. Like he was literally thinking with his dick or something. But seriously, the I have dyslexia excuse thing of why he couldn't read it properly, or hell, he should have said, I've read the first one. I haven't been able to read the second one. I'm going off the evidence of the first one, and some of the stuff that I've heard. That is it. Because if he had done that, but even if he had said that, this video, I've seen some of it. It doesn't look good at all. But even if he had said that at the very least, and the video had been less in defense of her, I feel like this could have gone over a lot better. But the fact that he acted so smug, like, oh my god, I've read it more than 99% of the people. And yet he didn't. He read even less. It just boggles the mind. And let's get back.
First one has 111 pages.
It's 111 pages long! You're kidding me! You're kidding me!
Sure, it's long, but it's mostly just screenshots. The most severe allegation in this document was that Cindy was grooming a 14-year-old by sending them inappropriate pictures. Unfortunately, the doc is so long that most people didn't look at it in its entirety, and if they did, they didn't look at it very carefully. Now, some of you may be asking, how old was Cindy when this all happened?
The fucking irony of that statement. The irony.
Was she 16 when she was talking to the 14-year-old? Or 17? Nope, she was 20, about to turn 21. Like her birthday was right around the corner. The 14-year-old also made their own doc, and it's, oh god, 188 pages long.
188 pages? No!
But it's almost entirely just made up of screenshots, so it's not as long as it may seem at first. Now, some of you might say that these screenshots are out of context, or maybe the messages are fake. After all, Discord is one of the easiest websites to use to fake messages. I mean, it's happened to me before, so it might have happened to Cindy. But the thing is, those allegations aren't just allegations anymore because Cindy admitted to it.
I've been an irresponsible content creator, and I've been acting inappropriately towards my fans. This alone is enough for me to realize I need to make sweeping changes to how I conduct myself and how I interact with my fans. But the most serious thing I've done is I've groomed a minor. I became friends with a 14-year-old after I made a mental note to myself to not become friends with minors again, and I overshared with them.
Guilty!
Yeah, okay. You know what? It's like they've admitted it. They've admitted it. It isn't even like... And there's evidence to back this up. Oh my lord.
I shared graphic, explicit materials with them when I shouldn't have. I groomed this child, and I knew what I was doing was wrong, and I betrayed everyone who looked up to me. I betrayed my friends. I've done the worst possible thing I could have done, and I'm suffering for my choices.
On the one hand, I am happy she admitted to it so fast, but on the other hand, she groomed a minor! I could go over the proof in the doc, but the drama seems like it's already over. Proof of what she did came out, her roommate talked about it, making the situation blow up, and she admitted to it. It's like that one clip from Rick and Morty.
And now, another quick mystery. I just want to know who could have done something like this. It's a travesty. I did. See this knife and all the blood on it? Here's my fingerprints. Guilty. I sentenced you to life in prison.
Yes, it is. So why did you make... like, why did you make this video? It is that simple. This is one of those times, right, where somebody is accused of something, they've admitted to it, there is so much evidence against them for it that making a video in defense of them is a moot point. And this guy's gonna go over technicalities like, oh, it's technically not grooming and stuff. I'm just like, even if it technically isn't, what they did was fucked. Seriously, what they did was absolutely wrong. Even if we're gonna go, oh, it's not that exact word or this exact word, it's still terrible. Like, imagine imagine somebody brutally tortures somebody, right, and kills them or something, and then it's through some sort of technicality, they're not like found guilty. They've still brutally tortured and killed that person. Just because it's technically not this or that doesn't mean they haven't done something wrong. If the actions are still wrong, oh my god, I can't believe. Let's get back into this.
Everybody, including Synnie, seems to be in agreement that she's a groomer, but I think a lot of you want me to be as transparent as possible and go over the two really big dogs. I've seen a lot of false information get spread around about this situation, and I want you all to understand exactly what's going on, because let's be honest here, most people aren't going to go through two massive dogs. The only one defending Synnie at all is Kumo, and let's be honest here, he's a guy who everybody hates, so if anything, he probably made the situation even worse for her. The guy is an absolute contrarian, and many people consider him to be a troll. Clearly, he's just doing this to stir up drama, but as I was working on my Synnie video, I kept on going back and changing a lot of things about it, and once I finished my video on Synnie and looked at all the evidence I had lined up, it just didn't feel like a good video to me. I got that same feeling I had during the Pyro drama, the Hopeless Peaches drama, and the Spoctor drama. For those of you who do not know what the Spoctor drama is, basically back in 2018, he was accused of inappropriately messaging minors as young as 13 years old. But he got out of them because he did those actions when he was 16 to 17. Synnie was 20, about to turn 21, so there's no way she's innocent, right? Well, I told myself the same thing, but then I noticed she took down
Completely different situations. Holy these are completely different situations. I can't really remember much about the Spoctor drama. I think he had nudes of the person. I think he had nudes of the minor that he took when he was a minor, and they were in his computer or something, and he just left them there, or he mentioned it, and he didn't delete it right away when he forgot about it or something. I don't know, but I feel like it's a completely different situation to intentionally sending a kid explicit material. You know, that's a completely different situation. Why are you comparing two completely different situations and then going, oh, because this situation went this way, that means this person is innocent?
On her apology video, and I decided to reach out to her because I just felt so uneasy. And after I interviewed her, which I will play at the end of this video, I realized that Synnie and all of you were lied to. I've gone against the mainstream art commentary community opinion lots of times. I did it in the Peaches drama, the Antoon drama, and the Toby drama. Granted, the last one didn't go so well for me, but the other two went pretty well. I know 100% that I'm going to get a lot of backlash for making this video, but someone with a sizable audience needs to say something. The first big red flag to me was how quickly Synnie admitted to grooming. When it comes to groomers, they never do that. Cosmodor didn't do that. EDP didn't do that. In fact, there's not one single groomer that I can think of that has ever done that.
Eric, I like women. It's you were specifically having interactions with this person where you were trying to have them call you while you were in bed.
Only person that I can think of who admitted to being a groomer before Synnie was Spoctor, but he was innocent. If you
Wait. Didn't EDP admit, like, when EDP got caught in the sting operation, he literally was like, that's me. He pretty much admitted it there on the spot because he was caught red-handed. It's only after that, after like what do you call it? The guy in the sting got caught being like, I think, an actual racist, and then I think caught making some very making some very like off-color jokes and stuff. But it was mainly the whole racist thing that when he was caught that he got suspended off YouTube, and that was when EDP came out with this video like, oh, I'm innocent, I've been framed or something, or this guy is a racist and stuff like that. And it's like, he still admitted it in the other video. It's just that the guy doing the sting operation was a piece of shit, and he waited until he could get his video completely monetized and then upload it, rather than uploading it as soon as possible and exposing EDP. You know, like, no, I'm pretty sure he did admit to it there and then. It's just that then he retracted that, and then he tried to come up with a lot of excuses and lies, and he was caught doing that multiple times. Like, That's not a good situation to. Oh goodness.
Seen my Vincent Skullman video on my old channel, then you know that I've proven that ArchCC people are cartoonishly spineless. Just a little social pressure will make them admit to things that they haven't done. In court, people are allowed to rescind their guilty plea, and that is put into law because humans are, well, human. They can be pressured into saying that they're guilty even when they aren't. Tons of people have admitted to practicing witchcraft because they were pressured into it.
Okay, Jaw, that may be true, but did you actually watch Jack's video?
Yes, and it barely had any evidence at all. It is mostly just...
Dude, the whole thing with the rescinding of a guilty plea, they can do that is usually also because there needs to be some sort of evidence that has to prove they're not guilty. Like if somebody admits to being guilty and there's barely any evidence against them, but then they admit they're not guilty and then they have a retrial, they would need to find evidence to prove that the person didn't do it or is innocent. That's the whole thing. Usually with these rescinding of guilty pleas, usually there's a lack of evidence or not a substantial amount to where that person can rescind it and then be given another trial to where the person has time to actually gather evidence that proves their innocence, or the other people have time to gather more evidence that may prove he's guilty. Like the whole thing of why that is there is because of coercion and pressuring. But the problem with in Synnie's case is that there's actually evidence against her. There's tons of evidence against her. So even if she rescinds, oh, I'm not guilty of this, she is. She's admitted it, but even without her admission, there's just so much evidence. Like, why? Why would we go, oh, she rescinded it, she could be in it? No, there's literally tons of evidence.
Jack talking, and that's pretty much it.
Sock has expressed discomfort with Synnie multiple times, and Synnie hasn't made an effort to change anything. She made graphic rape comics, including Sock's characters, and sent them to people she barely knew, who then leaked them because she didn't fucking know them. Sock expressed discomfort again, and Synnie doubled down and told Sock off because she can cope however she wants, I guess. I haven't looked at the screenshots. I've only heard, testimony of this, but it's disturbing.
I haven't looked at the screenshots. I've only heard, testimony of...
Yeah, Jar, you should have looked at the logs. You should have looked at the DMs. You should have looked at it. Oh my god, I can't believe it.
She has an obsession with Boy to this very day. Before I found out about all this, Synnie actually DM'd me last night and said, oh, Boy's yelling at me, because I think she has, an imaginary version of him. I don't know. And I was like, why is he yelling at you? And she's like, I don't feel comfortable saying. And then I found out from someone else what she did, and she just wasn't going to tell me.
Some of you may bring up that Jack and Synnie were best friends, and it would be in denial about what their friend did. The thing is, though, Jack is very, very autistic. I can't be the only one who...
And you are very autistic, okay?
Thinks it's weird that Synnie allegedly groomed a 14-year-old, and Jack somehow makes it about itself and gets $10,000 in donations. What? How does that work? If that's the rule from here on out, Professor Dreadlock has been messaging minors inappropriately. Now give me $10,000, please. Even if you're moving out, you don't need $10,000 unless you live in California or New York or something. In fact, if you live in one of those two states, $10,000 will only cover your rent for a week. But why couldn't Jack just ask for, I don't know, $2,000 or $3,000 and then get a job? Well, that's because it doesn't work. Yep, Synnie was paying the overwhelming majority of the rent. Jack needed Synnie, but Synnie did not need Jack. Synnie is working a real job, she's making money, and she's paying rent.
Jack for the longest time was on Social Security until he moved.
So let me get this straight, we're paying taxes to it, and now we're giving $10,000 to it. It almost seems like Jack had everything to gain by throwing its friend under the bus.
But Jar, the document had all the proof. I mean, look how many pages it had. All that evidence must prove that Synnie's a groomer, right?
Well, actually no. There's not one shred of evidence that Synnie groomed anyone. Just testimony.
What? Oh my... There's not one piece of evidence that proves it. Okay, everybody keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Because in this video, he contradicts himself quite a lot.
One of which came from herself, ironically. Now, I want to make this 100% crystal clear. Synnie did 100% speak inappropriately around minors. But know who else did that? Pyro.
Recently, to those who are unaware, I've been accused of grooming a 15-year-old boy when I was 19. That I'm some kind of predator and was aware of his age all along. This is categorically untrue and a complete lie. But a few days ago, a poorly written Google Doc has surfaced claiming that I have lied in my response and I'm 100% guilty. I just want to be clear, I have never lied at any point. This document is disingenuous, manipulative, and it fails to include so much of...
No. Okay, so first of all, completely different situations. Second of all, even when Pyro knew and the person turned 16, he's 21. I feel that's much different to a 20-year-old grooming a 13 to 14-year-old. But even then, it's still bad. It's still it's still a bad thing that he did, and he did get off quite lightly. To be honest, he did get off pretty lightly, all things considered. You should have most likely got a lot more flack for that, definitely. But Cinny has done this multiple times. They have done this more. They have done this more than once. They like also when it comes to they had the kid reading a rape. Oh my god, these are two different situations. Okay.
Of my original statement. This document makes like insane assumptions based on limited and broken evidence. It's not hard to dismantle it. It's just annoying that I have to be the one to do it. These conversations never led to any nudes being exchanged. It was just purely fantasy garbage. Something.
Yeah, and it was inappropriate images sent to a minor, like multiple times. Both of them sent the images multiple times, even knowing that the person was underage. The only thing with Pyro before that, he didn't know the person was 15, but then he knew they was 16, and he's in it, and he's like in his like very early 20s, which is not good at all. But then again, it's like, why are he's comparing the situation, try and make it like, oh, everybody forgave Pyro, so we should forgive Cinny or something like that, or Pyro was forgiven. Like, no, that's not how this works.
Thing which Ivory himself confirms.
Did he ever ask you for nudes?
No.
No.
Several of our conversations were leaked online by Ivory. Here's one of the more damning ones.
I'd love for my Sona to be looking at his fat, sweaty while rubbing his belly from behind, and then just having him gas all over my Sona's face. That would be so nice. Or if mine was just underneath him, getting railed underneath his huge belly, and your Sona could be gassing non-stop as he f***s mine like, huh? Well, to be honest, I'd pick you up, hug you while... to be honest, I'd pick you up, hug you while rubbing you against my huge, sweaty moobs, then kiss your cheeks, telling you how much I loved you, and then kiss you on the lips and let out a hard, long belch into your mouth.
Oh Christ, this is just, oh my god. I've heard this particular bit multiple times. I still can't get over it. Like, why?
Come on.
I mean, yeah, we shared some fat furry art, we had some weird fantasy roleplay, but there was no sexual interest. There were no nudes exchanged, his name, his appearance, it wasn't important to me. He never once disclosed the fact that he was 15 at the time these exchanges commenced. He didn't include his age in his bio until he was 16, but I was not on Twitter between the 28th of December 2016 until the 29th of June 2017, as I was suspended. It would have been a hell of a lot less likely for me to see all but one of these tweets that's been used as evidence in this Google Doc. My Reddit post...
Yeah. Pyro's plausible deniability of not knowing that he was sexting a 15-year-old. The problem is that after he found out they were 16, he kept on doing it. After he found out they were 16, he then continued the role play for a while after that, which is bad because he's 20 and this is over the internet. It's like that's bad. That's still a bad thing. Like, how is this meant to be a point for Cinny? It's a bad thing. Just because somebody got off, in some people's opinion, lightly, which, I mean, yeah, he did. He got off. Just because he got off lightly in that situation doesn't mean Cinny should. Cinny should get the book thrown at her. Like, Christ, dude, you're thinking with your dick. That's what you're doing. You went too close. Like most people have been saying, you got too close, especially with the what do you call it? Especially when you're like, oh, I need somebody to talk to me so I can knock out and fall asleep, and especially with like showing the cock and there's like a minute. It's just, this is just dumb.
Clearly shows that I was suspended from Twitter at the time that they were made. And that, of course, leaves the very last one. But, like, what are the chances of you catching one specific tweet when you follow hundreds of people? I brought this up in my Reddit post as well, but it's been deliberately left out as some, like, shit attempt at manipulation.
Wait a second there, Jaw. The Cinny situation and the Pyro situation are completely different. I mean, after all, Pyro didn't know Ivory's age.
I think you need to see the next clip after this one.
When Ivory linked me his Twitter profile, the age in bio says 16. This is something I acknowledged in my Reddit post. But to be fair, I probably didn't elaborate enough on it. In retrospect, I never should have continued the furry stuff with him once I learned of his age, even though at the time, I didn't see it as a problem. If it helps for context, because we're being so open here.
Yes. Even he goes, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. I fucked up. Even he goes, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. And the thing is as well, Cindy was doing this with a 13 to 14-year-old. Like, she was doing that with somebody who was younger and continued to do it. And even when she goes, oh, I messed up, I done something wrong, she still then threatens to, oh my god.
I'm straight, IRL, like, I have no interest in guys. This is just purely, like, a weird fantasy, and it does not carry over into the real world whatsoever. Of someone who drew, like, fan art of my Fox character back in 2016, and then apparently replied to them, like, jokingly saying not thick enough, and then asking for their age, and they said 15. So when people saw this, they instantly drew parallels to the grooming allegation. I asked them for a thick version, and they drew this, which isn't even really that different from previous things they drew.
But you shouldn't have done that. They were a minor. That's bad. Jaw, this is bad. This is not a good thing. Just because he said all this, just because he got off lightly, doesn't mean what Synnie did was good. Doesn't mean what Synnie did should be excused at all. Especially since with the amount, it's way worse, and the age is way lower.
Before even getting into contact with me, I didn't commission it. What was drawn wasn't pornographic. They'd drawn very similar stuff before, and there was no roleplay here. It was nothing.
And last I checked, we pretty much all forgave him. Synnie is a coomer, a gooner, but not a groomer. Grooming requires intent and a desire to get with someone. Synnie did neither. If you want to get with a 14-year-old, you have to be a—
That's bullshit. That's a lie. That's not what that requires at all. There's different definitions of grooming. First of all, if anything, we could go. She is a groomer. For one, she befriended the minor. She pushed the minor's boundaries to get them comfortable with doing sexual role play and stuff like that, and then got them to read taboo books and stuff to them. So yeah, like, they got the minor, they pushed their boundaries, made them comfortable with this sexual stuff. Then they got them to read something sexual to them. So that you could say they groomed them into doing that.
pedo. Now, Synnie makes a lot of Coomer art, so there must be evidence of her drawing Shota, Lolly, or Cub, right? I mean, the signs were there in public for—
Okay. You know, I like how this is a point that he's gonna try and make, and then be like, oh no, she was young. No, dude, what the fuck does that have to do with this? The problem is she did all this shit with a minor. The problem is that she gave this. The problem is that she sent this stuff and talked sexual in a way to a minor. That is the problem. Who gives a shit about what she drew? What people really care about is the fact that she did this with a minor. That is the main thing. And the fact he's trying to go like, oh well, what did they do, Lolly, Shota, or Cub? As if that would make a difference to the fact that they still groomed a child. Like that doesn't make a difference. They still groomed a kid. That's the main point. Most people aren't even focused on that stuff. They're focused on she did this to a kid. She was sexual with a child. That's why people have a problem. Like, funny enough, I haven't really seen anybody point out the fictional stuff or how they're into weird fictional stuff, because most people are just focusing on the kid, which is good, because that's the good thing, to focus on the actual victim. My lord, this is like, imagine if somebody was like, oh my god, are they a serial killer? Did they play violent video games or something? And it's like, well, they did that when they were younger. That's not the point. They're still a serial killer. It doesn't matter what they did. It doesn't matter what stuff they did when they were younger. The whole point is that they're a killer. Oh my lord, why are we trying to bring
years? Just take a look at her channel. There are tons of videos where she would make suggestive animations of a minor character from My Little Pony. By that I mean Scootaloo isn't a minor.
It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with this. And just because she was younger and she did this and that community was like, oh, that's kind of fine, it isn't. We know it isn't. We know minors shouldn't be doing this at all.
Her character from My Little Pony, but that she's a minor character. She's underage. That's the point I'm trying to make. Okay, this is cut and dry. She's guilty. But the fact of the matter is, she made those animations when she was a minor herself. A lot of these inappropriate animations of Scootaloo are over 7 years old. Synnie just turned 21, so back then she would have been 14. Maybe this is just me.
Again, I love how he's like, oh, if they drew this fictional character, oh, that means they're definitely guilty of these allegations. When in reality, they could have drawn the other character and still be guilty. Just like, what is this argument? What is this argument right here? Is he just thinking about all the people who would go, oh, they did this fiction, that means they're definitely guilty. And then he's like, well, no, they didn't do that. They didn't do any bad fictional. They didn't do that bad fictional stuff. Like, oh, they did it when they were a minor, so it's not like the dude did it as an adult. It's like, no, I don't understand this logic here.
but I don't believe 14-year-olds who drew inappropriate pictures of characters around their age should be canceled years later when they are an adult. If that's the case, a lot of you minors watching this video better go scrub your DeviantArts.
Scrub, scrub, scrub till the roots is proud.
The problem with this is that this is not the art CC, it's the animation meme community. Stuff like this is absolutely normalized in this community. If you're gonna cancel Synnie for this, then you better cancel everybody else in the animation meme community.
I have not seen anybody talk about this. I've barely seen anybody go, oh my god, they drew like spicy animations of Scootaloo. Oh my god. No, people have just been focused on the grooming stuff. That's what they've been focused on. I gotta probably stop saying that word because it might limit the traction of this video. But point is that barely anybody's actually been talking about it, which is a little bit surprising actually. I generally thought more people would be harping on about that stuff, but thankfully it's just been people rightfully pointing out all the bad shit that she's did and just being like, yeah, the fiction's weird. Like nobody's really been talking about that. The fact that you're the one who's been talking most about that and going and then trying to go, oh well, like can we steer back to the actual stuff she did that was inappropriate with the kid? You know? It feels like this is just a distraction.
There are plenty of animations that say 13 plus or 16 plus or whatever, and the characters in them are very scantily dressed and do inappropriate things. You can have a problem with this. Hell, you can demand that these videos are age restricted, but you can't just cancel Synnie for this and give everybody else a free pass. Plus, a lot of this stuff is no more inappropriate than things I've seen in animes like Fairy Tail and Naruto. Never forget what you were like when you were a kid.
Nobody is talking about this. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a fuck about this stuff. They care that she groomed somebody. That is what everybody has a problem with. Nobody gives a shit about the fiction. Also comparing what she did to somebody posting a suggestive video on YouTube or anime. It's completely different. Having stuff put onto YouTube, onto a website where parents are able to manage and keep an eye on their child and make sure they don't watch this sort of content versus an adult having a minor in a Discord or privately somewhere where the parent cannot see them and then sending them this stuff is a completely different thing. There's a difference between something being posted online or shown publicly, right, and a child happening to see it or happening to watch it versus an adult actively sending that stuff to them and going, oh wow, you know this spicy scene? Here, minor, take this. No! That's why it's bad. That's why it's bad, because it's actively an adult doing that to a minor. It's not like the minors going and finding themselves, which still isn't good. But it's way different. But it's nowhere near as bad as an adult trying to push this stuff onto kids. I can't believe a grown man doesn't know this.
Enjoyed Misty when she was in her bikini, you enjoyed Naruto when he did a sexy jutsu, and you enjoyed when Fairy Tail just did a whole bunch of stuff. So just so we're clear here, back when Synnie was 13, 14, and 15, she made animations like this, and just about no one had a problem with a minor making animations like this on the internet. Hell, judging by the view counts these videos got, I would go as far as to say that people encouraged her to keep doing stuff like this. So if she grew up with people constantly encouraging her to make animations like the one she's made, then it stands to reason that she would do the same when she grew up.
But Chud, that's not the only allegation in the doc, there's plenty of other stuff as well.
I hear what you're saying, so let's look at that doc even more. Now granted, the old stuff she did wasn't that bad. Sure, making a 17-year-old uncomfortable when you're 19 isn't good, but it's not pedo stuff in my book. I'm one of those people who defended Call Me Carson, so I can't say she should be kicked off the internet for doing the same. If you would like to know the story between her and the 17-year-old minor, well basically she sent a bunch of inappropriate messages to the minor. She sent a non-con comic to the minor who was 2 years younger than her. The comic included an F&F character by the name of Boy, who was graping Nightmare Sand supposedly for the punishment of molesting children. Lovely. Oh, and by the way, to make everything worse...
Okay, but why? Why would she do this? Why? Like, plus, Call Me Carson, like, I'm gonna be so real. Comparing this to the Call Me Carson situation is kind of wild because, first of all, why would you send a random person on the internet a non-con comic, right? Why would you do that? Well, I'm pretty sure she didn't know the person in question, and then make it worse, they are a minor. You know, like why? It's so like not even from like a moral point. It's just stupid. I mean, it's also.
The OC by the name of Boy was created by a minor.
Ooh, that's bad.
The minor called out Synnie for this, and she apologized and made a promise that she would never ever do something like this again.
That's good.
No, none of this stuff is wholesome Christian family fun, but it's not that bad. Tons of people have drawn inappropriate pictures of minors' OCs. It's bad, but it's less bad when Synnie did it because she was only 2 years older than the minor. If people don't want you to put...
She did it, then sent it to then sent it to the minor in question. Like, no. But imagine, I've never heard anybody, right? Okay, let's take Jaden thing for example, right? Like, people have drawn her OC, and she's even said like she would rather not have it, but she kind of knows that it's something that's gonna happen on the internet. She just doesn't want it to be like the first thing that pops up when you search her name. That's pretty much what I got from one of the interviews she did. But even with that, I've never heard anybody go, "Oh, I'm going to draw this person's OC. I'm going to draw Jaden's OC that is very, and make it very sexual in nature, and know that she doesn't like that. So, and I know she doesn't really like that sort of stuff, and then actively send it to her." I've not heard anybody do that. Why would you do that? That's weird. That's very bad. Like, why would you do that to somebody? Why would you send it to like somebody drawing person's OC? Okay, like not really good without their permission and stuff. Somebody drawing their OC sexually, that's not really good either and stuff. And you probably that's not really good either. But that's something that's gonna happen. But why would you send it to the person? Especially if they don't like that being done. That's just a dick move. And especially since the person is a minor, she's an adult in this. She's the adult in this situation. The reason why it's bad. The reason why this is bad is because as an adult, you have more responsibilities than the child does. So that means when, like, for example, if you have like a 3-year something with your sibling, right, and your sibling brings their friends and like, "Oh, can we get some alcohol and stuff like that?" and they want you to, and you go and buy it. If you bought that for them, right, then you're getting the book. You're getting the full brunt of the law. You're the one going to jail, which is why you have a responsibility not to do it. At least that's from like a practical standpoint. From a moral standpoint, you shouldn't be giving kids alcohol. You know, like getting them liquor and stuff, and just buying it for them, giving it to them. That's not good for them. You're basically opening them up to addiction. And what am I saying? He should know this. The fact that he doesn't know any of this, know why it's bad, is just so dumb.
Put their OCs in not safe for work situations, you should respect their wishes. But if you draw your OC as a hot anime girl or a big buff man, you should expect people to draw them in not safe for work situations. Personally, guys, just draw not safe for work of me. Plus, there was a video made defending Synnie from these allegations. It got hundreds of thousands of views, and it was received extremely well. Sorry, but you can't just agree with a video that's debunking allegations, then change your mind on it because new allegations came out. This is bad, but it's a 2-year age gap. And most people only gave her a slap on the wrist for this because of Romeo and Juliet laws.
Protected by the Romeo and Juliet laws.
He dated for a little while. I was a sophomore and he was a senior. It's fine.
No, it's not fine. We've got a pre-existing juvenile foundation relationship. Statute 2705-3.
Granted, a lot of people don't agree with Romeo and Juliet laws, especially when it involves a 17-year-old and a 19-year-old. After all, a 19-year-old can vote, get drafted, and do a bunch of other stuff, but a 17-year-old is still in high school. What Synnie did was bad, but it's not pedophilic, and she did receive backlash for it. Personally, the biggest problem I have is that she said she would never ever do that.
Yeah, and she did it again. And the person was even younger. That's the issue. That's the main problem. Like, if she had never done any stuff, this was the only thing that she had done, she would never have gotten the backlash that she did, right? Because it would have been like, "Oh, yeah, that's a major fuck up. They're 2 years apart. Even though this is not good, at the very least, we can say 2 years apart, and she hasn't done this again. She's not that sort of person, right? We could say that if it was like a one-time thing and that was it. That was like the worst thing that she had done. But there's more.
Do this again, and she did. However, people are also more forgiving about this stuff when it's over the internet. Me hitting on a 17-year-old in real life is different than me hitting on a 17-year-old over the internet. After all, I can see the 17.
No, if you know the age, I don't even know how old Josh was, like in his 30s, right? If you know the age of the person and you're hitting on them, you're as gross as the person who's hitting on them IRL, because you still know the age of the person. You know that that's a minor, and you're going to hit on them as a grown man, as a grown adult. If you know the age, if you know the age of the person, they're underage, and you actively go your way to hit on them, that's gross. You're 30. This isn't like a 17-year-old thing or something like that. This is 30 and 17. No, it's not okay. Just because it's online, just because there's a screen, doesn't mean people should treat that differently. Just because some people might treat it differently, doesn't mean it's right.
17-year-old in real life, but on the internet, I can't see what they look like. On the internet, I hear someone talking to me. In real life, I see a minor in front of me. Granted, I'm a lot older than Synnie. If I'm talking to a 17-year-old, yeah, I'm gonna get a lot more crap for it. The example I'm giving only works if I'm 19 or 20. But the thing is, as far as I'm aware, Synnie wasn't hitting on this 17-year-old. She was just cooming with them. She would also post gore and say inappropriate things.
Like, let's play that back. Let's play that back. 10 seconds.
Gonna get a lot more crap for it. The example I'm giving only works if I'm 19 or 20. But the thing is, as far as I'm aware, Synnie wasn't hitting on this 17-year-old. She was just cooming with them. She would also post.
Oh yeah, that's much better. That's way better than, like, does he hear himself? Imagine saying, "Oh, they didn't hit on the minor. They just got off with them." That's not better. That's not better at all. In fact, saying it like that, that makes it even that. Oh my god, I don't know how he says that. And he doesn't think that still sounds very bad.
Score and say inappropriate things where minors as young as 14 were present. Sure, this isn't good, but it's nothing that would get you that much backlash. Personally speaking, I went on Live Leak a lot as a kid, and I saw some very gory stuff.
And that's you as a kid going on there. It's not like an adult sent you Live Leak links to go on there. There's a difference. There's a difference between going on something as a kid and an adult actively sending you and encouraging you to go on that sort of stuff. There's a huge difference. One is of your own volition. That's your choice. It's still not good, and your parents should make sure you don't go on that stuff. But the other one is an adult an adult that is being inappropriate with you, that is getting you into this stuff. That adult would be bad for doing that. I can't believe he doesn't understand.
Also, in the animation meme community, gore and bloodshed is just common. So once again, your hatred shouldn't be placed on Synnie, but the entire animation meme community as a whole. Like the fact that people are freaking out going, "Oh, think of the children," just makes me laugh so hard. If you guys are canceling Synnie for this, then why isn't Jack getting any hate? Look at the end of its video on Synnie. His avatar along with her avatar are stripping while being on poles, and this video wasn't age restricted.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Fuck off, really? You're really gonna compare him doing a spicy animation with Synnie and his OC at the end versus her sending stuff to minors? Does he not understand the difference?
So many minors were exposed to this! But again, at the very worst, this is her being irresponsible, not grooming. Most of the stuff in the doc doesn't really show her doing that much bad stuff at the start. I don't think having your OC in a suggestive pose where minors can see it is that big of a deal. If it was, then the doc maker would also be at fault. Also, anyone who made a video about this situation, as they were linking the doc showing images of her OC in sexy outfits, would also be at fault. Guys, you can't call something then put it in a video without age.
Oh, no, that's not how that works. Calling something porn and putting it in a video and putting it out publicly is it's a lot different to having something be porn and then sending it on a Discord where where minors are. There's a complete difference. One is private, the other one's public. One, especially if you show that the video isn't for kids and stuff, and you put those disclaimers, you've already given the warnings. The internet is not a place for kids. I don't understand how he doesn't get this. This is actually annoying me. I've read a lot. There's a difference between having a video, putting it out publicly, and then sending something in a Discord. Like, imagine somebody goes and says a photograph. Imagine somebody goes and says a picture is porn, right? And that person has sent it to somebody, right? Like on Twitter or something, or they send it to somebody on Twitter, right? That person has no Asian bio, no nothing, right? And then it's like, oh, they go there 15. That's a lot different to then having that image, then sending it on your Discord to a bunch of minors. You know, like I feel like if you really balance, one is way worse than the other one, while the other one is like, no, you know, like seriously, you know.
Restricting it. Sure, the doc does censor out a few things, but it doesn't look like anything that bad was blocked out. Like this image was gore art, not her being topless, or at least that's what I've been told. Yes, her avatar is in underwear, but they're not fully naked. But then you have things that are a little bit worse, like her saying to a 13-year-old that she's looking for a not safe for work chatbot to talk to because she's horny. Run away, I've got to. Maybe this is just me, but I don't think you need to be telling 15, 14, and 13-year-olds that you're horny. I skimmed over the doc because most of the stuff I saw in it was small potatoes compared to the accusation I heard about her grooming a 14-year-old. Then when I finally got to the end of the shorter doc, I found out that the bigger and longer doc was the one about the grooming. Now I want to make this clear. I do not believe Synnie is a pedo. She more than likely would have done this with anyone regardless of age. The 14-year-old who made the doc even thinks that this is the case. She was being irresponsible by talking to the 14-year-old this way, but I don't think she was doing it to get with the 14-year-old. Also, I'm gonna be real here. The idea that people are saying Synnie is a groomer but not a pedo is absolutely silly.
I don't want to hurt.
No, that's not how that. Oh my god, Jar doesn't know anything. Like, there's not like the whole what's the word? Colloquially, right? I can't even pronounce the word. Anyway, when people use word pedo, it refers to really much anybody that is getting with somebody who is underage. People aren't going by like scientific definition of the word, like, oh, it's 13. They're going somebody that's like under 13 or something like that. No, people are using that for anybody who is under the age 18 and the person is significantly older than them. That's the reason why. So let's move on to the next thing. I'm repeating myself. And I'm back.
Hurt anyone. I don't want this pattern to repeat itself. I want to be better. Nothing I do will ever make this right, but I want to make sure it never happens again.
This is wildly irresponsible, it's an optics nightmare, and I don't know why she did this, especially when she made the promise that she wouldn't do this again. However, when you consider the fact that neither I nor the 14-year-old believe that Synnie is a pedo, then you have to ask yourself, how is this grooming? If you're not trying to get with someone, you're not grooming them. If you want to hate on Synnie for this, that's fine, but she's not a pedo. Now I know what some of you are going to say. Well, we're not saying she groomed the 14-year-old to get with them, she just groomed the 14-year-old to be more comfortable with conversations like this so she could coom. Don't get me wrong, I thought that at first, but it turns out that the minor was the one being inappropriate first, and she kept on pestering Synnie to talk about stuff like this.
That's not an excuse. Why is it so loud? That's not an excuse. How is that? Okay. That's not an excuse. How does the minor being the one to initiate something with the adult? They're the adult in the situation. This isn't an excuse. Holy shit! I don't understand this. This isn't an excuse.
It's also important to note that this minor was a fan of Synnie's content that includes Scootaloo being in very suggestive outfits, which Synnie also made when she was 14.
Oh, so them being a fan of the wait a minute. So them being a fan of this content, right, and being there for Synnie would mean that it'd be way easier for Synnie to be able to manipulate and groom the person and get them to do things that are very inappropriate, right? Like, I don't.
Yes, Synnie should not have engaged with this minor. She was the adult in this situation, and what she did was incredibly irresponsible. It also makes her look really sus. But then again, Pyro, when he was an adult, sent a lot of inflation stuff to a minor. He got backlash for what he did, but he did beat the grooming allegations. No, I do not know why she couldn't talk to an adult about this kind of stuff. She brought up that she talked to this 14-year-old because she was as open about not safe for work stuff as she was. And yeah, of course she was. She just started puberty. Yes, Synnie knew the minor's age. She asked early in the convo. Sure, she could have forgotten this person's age. I talked to a lot of people myself, and it's hard to keep—
I'm so sorry, but that's not good. That's not really that good of an excuse, is it? That's not really a good excuse. If you're in a Discord, right, and you're getting people and you're like, oh, this person's 14 and stuff like that. You can't afford to forget that. You cannot afford to forget that if you have them in a Discord with you. That's not good. That's not good. That's not a good enough excuse. I'm sorry. No.
Keep track of stuff like this sometimes, but she acknowledged that this person was young a few more times. Then they started to talk about, not safe for work stuff. But none of the not safe for work topics they went over were nearly half as bad as some people made them out to be. Like, some of this quote-unquote not safe for work stuff includes lyrics from the song, I like big butts and I cannot lie. I heard that in the Shark Tale movie.
I like square butts and I cannot lie.
Hey boss, big butts.
But what about the inappropriate pictures, like her sitting on a pile of sand corpses while hugging Boy? Is hugging porn now or something? There's also pictures of her in boy and bunny outfits. Woo, so scandalous. None of this stuff is actually hardcore corn. It's just softcore corn. For those of
So what? She still sent it to a minor.
you who do not know what softcore corn is, well, think of it like the sexy jutsu from Naruto. Sure, it's a bit risque, but under the law it would not be considered hardcore corn. This kept on escalating until Synnie, she sent the same not safe for work essaying comic to this minor, and requested this minor to draw even more corn of the character of Boy and Nightmare Sans. From the censoring job, it looks like a few parts of this comic would have been legally classified as hardcore corn. The absolute worst thing Synnie sent was this picture of Boy fingering her avatar. However, it should be noted that the doc maker was not the one who censored this out. It was actually Synnie herself. When I first saw this, I thought, yeah, Synnie's guilty. But when I found out that she censored the worst parts of this comic herself, it made her look far less guilty than I was previously.
Wouldn't that make her look more guilty because she's censoring it because she knows that it's inappropriate, but yet still chose to send it to the minor anyway? The fact that she censored it means that she had way more time to think about whether she should have sent this to the minor or not, and she chose to anyway. This doesn't make her look less guilty. This makes her look more guilty. This means that even in her brain, she had to have gone, ooh, this is bad. This is very inappropriate for a minor. This should be censored. But didn't go, this is very inappropriate for a minor. I shouldn't send this to them at all. You know, that makes her look more guilty, not less.
led to believe. I agree that what Synnie did was wrong. I agree she was being irresponsible, but I do not think that Synnie is a groomer, a pedo, a child predator, or anything like that. After going through both of these massive documents in their entirety, I realized that they're just full of nothing. Oh no, Synnie drew a picture of her character in a sexy outfit. Oh no, Synnie said I like big butts, I cannot let you a minor. If the doc maker had to stretch so much, so many times to make such bad points to paint Synnie as a predator, then it stands to reason that it's not a good doc. They clearly didn't know what they were talking about, and they were just grabbing any piece of evidence they could to paint Synnie as a groomer. The fact that Jack actually looked at this doc and came to the conclusion that Synnie was a groomer is absolutely insane. After that,
and the fact that you didn't actually do your research properly and came to the conclusion that, oh my god, she's way more, she's actually kind of innocent, guys, or she's not as guilty as we all thought she was, guys, is just appalling. I don't think he's ever gonna recover from this. He's doomed.
That happened, I believe that Jack convinced Synnie that she actually groomed someone. Then Synnie, feeling bad about it without actually looking at the document, admitted to the allegations. And nothing Synnie did was as bad as what Pyro did. So please tell me why he's getting a free pass and she's not. Okay, yes,
Okay, let's go with that. Let's go with this logic. Yo, he should have got more flack. Yes. That doesn't mean she doesn't, just because okay, let's not even use Pyro. Just because one person gets away with something that is bad doesn't mean the other person that gets away that doesn't mean the other person that does something bad should get away with it. That's not the right logic. We can go and look at that and go, that person should have got more punishment or should have got much more flack for this. But that doesn't mean we should that doesn't mean when we have this person we shouldn't give them flack for what they've done. That's not how that works. You can't just go just because one person got away with stealing the eggs doesn't mean the other one gets to get away with stealing the eggs. That's not how that works. That's not how fairness works. In fact, you can say the person getting away with the eggs is an unfair thing. So to be fair, we have to make sure we punish this person who's doing the same thing.
The evidence we've seen from Pyro's video shows that he didn't actually know the age of the 15-year-old. Synnie, on the other hand, did, which makes her more guilty than Pyro. But the stuff she sent Enna wasn't as bad as what Pyro sent to Ivory. Like, it's not even close. Also, Pyro did continue talking to the minor when they turned 16. Now, 16 is the legal age of consent in the UK, so it's really up to you to decide which one was worse.
I will, and I'll say the worst one is the person talking to the 13 to 14-year-old, and they're in their mid-20s. I think that is way worse. That's way worse. I'm sorry. Like, both are not good. That's way worse though.
I'm really sorry, but
I'm going to kill myself, and it's your fault. Ah!
Did Synnie really say she was going to kill Jack? Well, yes, but there's some much needed context that you are missing. First of all, it's sad that people are flipping out over this and taking Enna wasn't as bad as what Pyro sent to Ivory. Like, it's not even close. Also, Pyro did continue talking to the minor when they turned 16. Now, 16 is the legal age of consent in the UK, so it's really up to you to decide which one was worse.
I'm really sorry, but
I'm going to kill myself, and it's your fault. Ah!
Did Synnie really say she was going to kill Jack? Well, yes, but there's some much needed context that you are missing. First of all, it's sad that people are flipping out over this and taking it so seriously. People have said they're going to kill me on Xbox Live lots of times, and I've done the same. Me and my roommate jokingly say we are going to kill one another all the time. I could tell super early on.
Okay, for one, there's a difference between somebody who has done what Synnie has done, saying that they're gonna kill the person, and a difference between like somebody on Xbox Live saying that. There's quite a bit, especially there's a difference between you and your friend saying that to you and you saying that to them. These all have different contexts to them. Like, especially with what I believe Jack has said. I can't remember exactly, but from what I gather, he doesn't feel safe around her at all. So imagine not feeling safe around a certain person and hearing them say they're gonna kill you. That's a lot different than some random person on the internet going, they're gonna KYS you, you know? Like,
that the screenshots Jack posted to its Twitter were taken out of context instantly. Here's the context for the first screenshot.
Okay, so this is at the time when Jack is recording the video, right? What the hell? I love Jack so much. What happened? Right now, I fucking hate him. I hope he dies. He's framing me as a sex pest, saying I assaulted him by touching his ass and boobs, but I would always ask if it was okay that I did that. And he always said yes. There were times when I poked him in places he didn't like, but I didn't realize it bothered him that much. I thought it was just playful. I don't know.
Oh no, she said she would kill Jack because it was accusing her of SAing, because it rescinded its consent, which is something you can't do. Kind of seems weird that Jack rescinded his.
I'm gonna point, like, if two people have sex and then afterwards she's like, nope, I didn't consent, or he's like, nope, I didn't consent to that, that's dumb. But if you're prodding and touching somebody and stuff like that, and they're like no, they're not comfortable with it, or like you're doing it a lot of times and they're uncomfortable with it, it's like, the things I don't trust, because I don't trust Synnie at all. I don't trust her. No, I don't think anybody should trust what Synniebear has to say about us at all, because of what she's done. There's no way. I don't like the fact that just a robot is actively taking her, is actually being more charitable to her, is just it's insane. It's insane to me.
His consent at the absolute perfect time. Sorry, but if you give me or anyone consent, you can't just take it away months later. You can give your consent when something is happening or about to happen, but not months after the fact. I can't believe I have to explain this, but apparently I did. Also, me and my roommate touch one another's asses all the time. It's a form of bonding with guys.
Yeah, that's between you guys. That's between you two. Also, that's such a weird thing to say. I'm sorry, like, even the friendliest, like, at most, like, the Italians may do the whole kiss on the cheek thing. You may get friends that hug a lot and stuff like that, or fist bump, or just do all that stuff. But I've never really heard of a guy being so close friends to a guy that it is on the regular touching each other's asses. That sounds gay as hell. I don't know. That sounds really gay, man. Like, not there's anything wrong with that, but it's just like, that doesn't seem like something normal friends would do, you know? Also, your situation and that person's situation are two different situations, so I don't get why you're comparing yourselves to them.
Professor Dreadlock decided to take away his consent months after the fact and painted me as a groomer. I would put him 6 feet under. Also before this, Synnie was going over the stuff of her roommate painting her as a groomer. The second screenshot, the one about the gun, was sent after Jack moved out of the house.
Jack made a Twitter thread saying he has more info on me, is making a second video on me. He said he was talking to my friends and coworkers all day and is now staying with my coworkers, I think, but I don't know which ones. He said he's stealing my friends, and he said, live and suffer, pedo bear 03. After I saw Jack's Twitter thread, I had to leave work early. I bought a knife, pepper spray, and a crowbar to protect myself. I'm thinking about buying a gun too. I screamed at Izzy over the phone when she was trying to comfort me, but I was convinced someone was in my apartment and they were going to kill me as soon as I entered the place. I parked in a neighborhood 30 minutes away from where I live, and Izzy went to my apartment to check all the rooms with Jade. I thought someone was there and would kill her, thinking she was me, and I was so scared to try calling her again. Everything was cleared, though. I came home and checked all my rooms for myself, my pepper spray in hand. I broke down crying, which I saw Stupid. Stupid is the name of the cat, and I slept in my room. I do not blame Synnie for wanting to buy a gun to defend herself when all the internet is, like, wanting her dead, and, like, she's being actively doxxed and people are advocating to kill her.
This was during a time Synnie was getting death threats, and also dealing with people calling her boss, showing that they know where she works. Therefore, they probably...
But before, with the whole... Before when she said she was gonna kill the other person, that was because the other person was making accusations against her, which, considering all the other accusations are against her, really isn't that... Like, you're justifying that one by saying, oh, well, you're justifying this through the lens that she is not as guilty as people think she is, when she really is. That's the problem with this. You're framing, you're using this in your own framing, thinking that it's good when it's not good at all. You got, like, we're 33 minutes and we're like 1/3 of the way in.
Probably know where she lives. She just brought up that she was getting a gun to defend herself, and that's it. Sorry, but how did you guys fall for this? The entire internet wanted someone dead, and they wanted to defend themselves, but somehow this negatively affects a person who got over $10,000? Let me just make this clear. Jack gets 10K, Synnie gets death threats. She wants to get a gun to defend herself, and then Jack somehow twisted this into a death threat? What? By the way, I just realized this. Jack thought Synnie was a threat to children, so why didn't they call the cops? If I thought Dread was a threat to kids, you can bet your shiny metal ass I would call 911. I guess asking for money was more important than protecting children.
children.
I am a registered sex offender. I stuck my dick into a blender.
Much like Hopeless Peaches, Synnie rushed her response to everything, and it was not a good response at all. It did change a few minds, but for the most part, it increased the backlash she got. This response would have worked if she made it without apologizing beforehand, and before Jack made its video. But at this point, the mob is too riled up to listen to her. She needed to treat this like how Pyro treated his video, or how Peaches handled her second video, but she made it as
Pyro, Hopeless Peaches, two different people. Pyro, Hopeless Peaches, those two are completely different to Synnie's situation. Can we stop comparing different situations just because you think they're the same? Like, no. Also, wasn't Hopeless Peaches' situation where she was talking in a Discord like around minors inappropriately, and it was like I think that was really it, and there wasn't really anything like sending any explicit photos or anything like that, right? So even then, that's a completely different situation to Pyro and Synniebear. Like, can you stop comparing these situations as if they're very similar when they're not?
As if it was just another video, and that's not a good thing. When you hear the call with me and her, you will see that she did not take my advice on how to go about this. She thought she didn't have to go over the dog because other people didn't go over it, but the thing is, this is the internet, not a court of law. On the internet, it's guilty until proven innocent. Also, monetizing the video and uploading it at 5 AM was not a smart move. That being said, the amount of people commenting that they will not watch the video is dumb. If you are too scared to watch it, then you don't fully believe in what you are saying.
Talk about me and the victims. My
If you've read the docs already, and then you go, yeah, I'm not watching this shit. They've already read the docs, and the docs have shown all the evidence, and they've watched the previous video of them being guilty. I feel it's fair for them to go, yeah, I don't really want to watch this. To be fair though, if you really like, it's all like, if they're like, why? This isn't really much of a point, considering the fact that they literally admit to their guilt. This isn't really much of a point because they literally admit to their guilt and stuff, so I don't get this.
And the victims.
One thing that really shocked me about this whole drama is the amount of people treating this like it's Synnie versus Jack, but they seem to forget about Enno. I think they are left out because they aren't a public figure, so most people just don't care about them. Let's be honest here, Jack made the video about itself, not the minor. The minor got nothing, and Jack got over $10,000. People are saying poor Jack a lot more than poor Enno. Guys, Jack is a person with autism and BPD, and they grew up getting bashed by the entire internet, which more than likely had an effect on its development. Oh, and also they go by it pronouns, which is not a normal thing, even by trans standards.
Okay, Jack with the 10K and stuff like that and stuff is like, okay, I guess. I don't really know. You can I feel like if you want to criticize Jack, okay, but that still doesn't make the other person any better in the situation. And plus, I feel like I'm repeating myself.
I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and say that it's best not to take it at its word and give it over $10,000 in 3 days. By the way, I'm going off topic for this, but if anyone is gonna try to make the allegation that I'm simping for Synnie, I'm not the one giving people $10,000. Giving money to people is closer to simp behavior than not giving them any money at all. I recall people saying poor creepshow work during the Peaches drama. That drama involved a woman with black and orange hair getting thousands of dollars for going after a blonde girl for things that were
Oh my god, he says he's not simping. Wait until I can't wait. He says he's not simping, but we have the logs of him basically simping, like him trying.
Okay. False, but a few things were true, but the things that were true were blown way out of proportion. And now the same thing is happening again, almost the exact same way. Talk about deja vu. I can't believe I'm having to do the same thing I did a few years ago. One of the people I defended Peaches from was Camilla, someone who was obsessed with Undertale, and Synnie is also obsessed with Undertale. Am I in a time loop? After looking over everything in more depth than 99% of people talking about this, I can safely say that this drama was blown up to a level that it had no business getting to. I love how people would try to debunk me on Twitter by sending me the doc they didn't read. I think the irony was lost on them.
I think the irony is lost on you. How you? Also, I'm gonna just skip the final thoughts bit and just get into the actual, what do you call it? The actual call. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get into the actual call. Let's
get into the edited down version of the interview I had with Synnie. Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, yeah.
Okay, so first thing I want to ask you, how are you feeling right now?
Kinda dead inside.
That sounds about right. Like, you seem like you've been through quite a bit of a roller coaster lately.
Mm-hmm.
So, here's my first question, if you don't mind if I begin. Do you mind if I begin?
Am I being recorded?
Actually, sure, I'll ask that. Would you be okay if I record you?
I guess it should be fine.
Okay, so my first question is, did you actually, like, look at the docs at all?
The first one, yes. The second one, I didn't
get
get a chance to. It was made, so that Jack could upload his video, as far as I'm aware.
Oh, okay,
I'm
so...
pretty sure,
No,
I'm
go
pretty
on.
sure it came out the same day as me making my... Like, the one that, NO made, I'm pretty sure was made on the exact same day that I recorded my apology video.
And NO is the 14-year-old, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my first question. I looked at the first doc. Like, I desperately looked all over the first doc. I don't see any grooming going...
Stupid.
Oh, yeah, like, Synnie had her avatar in sexual poses, and I was like, yeah, have you not seen Naruto
Well, maybe you should have read the second one.
or any PG-13 anime? Like,
No, I think a lot of that document was just complete horseshit, honestly. There were, of course, there were, like, some things that I do think were problems, like the actual issues, but a lot of it was just bullshit.
yeah, like I was looking at that, and I was like, this is so much nothing. Like, okay, sure, there's some stuff in here, but like 90% of it was just nothing. Like you saying, oh, my character, this fan art someone made for me is sexy. It's like, oh no, that she said sexy. I heard the word sexy in a fucking Shrek movie when I was a kid. Like, oh no. Question one, let's just go in the order I asked you them. Did you take your apology down, and if so, why?
I privated it because I'm making a video, kind of going over why I don't believe I'm actually a groomer.
Oh, wow, why don't you think
Wait, wait. Can I can't bring it up.
Why?
Was this editor? Jesus. Okay.
Like, we kind of just, like,
once I kissed an Italian guy, right?
Have
you ever dated a woman?
Wait.
Your name? Woman. No. So, let me go off topic. Synnie, are you, can I call you Synnie? Is that how you say your name?
Yeah, it's Synnie.
Okay, I might accidentally call you Sunny by accident, but I'll try.
Kind of going over why I don't believe I'm actually a groomer.
Oh,
Look,
wow, why don't you
believe
think
that.
Look, I missed it
Kinda
again.
going over why I don't believe.
No, this editor's this editor's on something. This editor knows. He knows. That one didn't age so well. Oh no. That's
I'm
funny.
actually a groomer.
Oh wow! Why don't you think?
that.
Why don't you think you're a groomer? It's because there's legitimately no evidence of you grooming. Is that?
Yeah, just okay. I mean, like seeing it now again, it's just like he's like he's hoping. It's like he's praying. He's like he's going. He's like, you're not a groomer, right? Yeah, you're not one, right? Good lord, he sounds like that person that's like, you're 18, right? You're 18, right? Like from that kick, like he sounds like one of those like predator kick streamers that's like that's coaxing the person, going, you're 18, aren't you? And just really like leading him in and talking like that.
That's why you think that?
I will be completely honest. I didn't even consider it to be grooming until Jack told me it was grooming.
Oh my fucking god! Of course you did. Of course you did. Because like, here's the thing. I looked through both docs. Okay, were you talking?
You looked through both docs? Did you really? Did you? Because later on, it's like later on you say you did. Later on, you say you couldn't read one of them because of your dyslexia. So I feel like that's a fucking lie.
Appropriately, yes. Were you grooming? No. So let me go off topic. Synnie, are you? Can I call you Synnie? Is that how you say your name?
Yeah, it's Synnie.
Okay, I might accidentally call you Sunny by accident, but I'll try to call you Synnie. So Synnie, like, let me ask you something. Are you you're straight, right?
As far as I'm aware.
Yeah. What? No, I'm straight too. No. Sorry. Eno is a female, correct? I got the names mixed up.
Eno is AFAB, yeah.
AFAB. Okay. So yeah, you're. Have you ever dated a woman?
When I was 14.
Of course you did.
And I ended up breaking up.
No, that of course you did. Is just like that of course you did feels like a. You're making my argument have less credibility. Why did you say that? Now it makes it even more like you were grooming. That's what that sounds like. That's like of course you did. Like he's a defense lawyer and he's like, oh, why did you have to say that? Like, have you ever had a criminal history and rolled in the past? He's like, yeah, I have. It's like, oh, why did you say that, man? You're making this so much harder.
Up with my girlfriend when I was 16 because I realized I didn't love her like that, because I realized I don't like women like that.
You were just a bit bi-curious, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Once I kissed an Italian guy, but that's not important right now.
Way back when, I like became friends with someone named Pee-wee. I guess now they go by Bug Spray. I just keep calling them Pee-wee because that's like ingrained in my brain. That's just who they are to me. I don't know, man. Like we kind of just like
I didn't realize that we only talked for a week before it got weird, but we were just, like, both being sexual, like, toward each other. And then, like, they offered to help me move out by moving in with me. And I wanted very badly to leave my parents' place, so we went through, like, a lot of planning. And then one day they just ghosted me, and I had to work out other arrangements in order to move out.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple days after they ghosted me, they made like a public YouTube video